Abridged Audio presents The Age of Anxiety, McCarthyism to Terrorism, written by Haynes Johnson, read by Kristoffer Tabori. Prologue. In the third month of the year of the new millennium, after a period of unparalleled prosperity, after emerging from the long Cold War as the world's only superpower, after achieving unsurpassed economic, technological, and military might, the United States of America suddenly found itself waging what its president described as a new kind of war. Abroad, the nation's armed forces were racing along the fertile plain between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, where Greek and Roman legions once marched to occupy the ancient Middle Eastern cradle of civilization, known then as Mesopotamia. America was engaged in a brief but brutal war that promised to affect the country's global standing and perhaps even its character, though the full consequences would not be known until long after combat ended. At home, the United States confronted the threat of more deadly terrorist attacks of the kind that had traumatized the nation a year and a half earlier, on September 11th, 2001. Americans, the most optimistic of people, now faced unnerving official terror warnings. Yellow, orange, and the ultimate doomsday, red. Their television screens broadcasted alerts. Their newspapers published emergency preparedness articles full of alarming instructions on how to protect themselves from biological, chemical, or radiological attacks. Their government authorities, already vastly expanding the surveillance and interrogation of citizens suspected of being security risks, advised them to be on the lookout for terrorists. Spy tips posted on billboards along freeways, bridges, and tunnel entrances advised citizens to call a special number to report suspicious activity. Their school-aged children practiced huddling inside designated safe rooms. Their politicians and some members of their press exchanged accusations about who was the most patriotic, who was a good or bad American, who was guilty of giving aid and comfort to the enemy. And their newest federal agency, a behemoth called the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, whose 180,000 employees were hastily gathered together from 22 different federal agencies, produced full-page national ads that set off more ripples of fear. Under a somber photograph of this agency's troubled-looking director, a headline proclaimed, "You've probably wondered, is there anything we can do to protect ourselves from the threat of terrorism?" While advising citizens that there is no reason to feel helpless in the face of terrorist threats against the United States, the official message was far from encouraging. All of us should be able to survive comfortably on our own for at least a period of 3 days, the ad announced. That's the amount of time you may need to remain in your home until the danger from biological, chemical, or radiological attack has passed. Listed below were the steps each citizen should take, from making an emergency supply kit and a family communications plan to being informed. Citizens rushed to carry out their government's instructions to be prepared. They stocked their homes with emergency supplies of food and water, duct tape and plastic sheeting, flashlights and battery-powered radios, first aid kits, toiletry items, protective chemical suits, and additional layers of clothing, gas masks, and maps of escape routes, in case you're advised to evacuate, all the while attempting to adjust to new government-imposed restrictions on their travel and movement. Americans were urged to visit the government's new website, www.ready.gov, for more details. Some of the advice found there unintentionally provided material for a Saturday Night Live parody.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?